Hello everybody, Joe here with Garden of Bluma. It is April 2020, Easter in the Phoenix, Arizona area, growing zone 9B. I just wanted to give you guys a quick backyard tour, a spring tour to show you how everything's looking and coming along. Just wanted to preface this video by giving you a little history. A lot of the in-ground established trees were planted in 2016. To give you an idea of the age of a lot of these in-ground trees, I have added at least one thing every year since then, but for the most part, a lot of these larger established trees in the ground are from that year. And I also wanted to note that, okay, I have a couple large ash trees in my yard here, and they are full of nesting birds. So a lot of my videos lately, I've noticed a lot of birds chirping in the background and making a lot of loud noises. So just to give you guys a heads up, if you're listening via headphone or something like that, give you guys a warning. All right, so to start here, this is my Tikal Sapodilla. And as you can see, I have one fruit there, and that is my first fruit. I'm really excited about this, looking forward to eating that fruit. I keep scratching it every day. It's still green underneath there, but it should be ready to pick here pretty soon. The fruit set back in, I believe it was like August of last year. So I think it takes about 9 months. So it should be getting pretty close there. Next to it is one of my canistel seedlings in the ground. Mini roses there. This is a Bradenton loquat. And as you can see there, fruit on it. This thing is loaded with fruit. So I'm gonna get a pretty good harvest, which seems to be what's going on with a lot of people growing loquats here in Phoenix this year. Seeing a lot of nice crops of loquats. My Indonesian seedless guava here. And as you can see, some of the new growth shooting out there, nice green color, whereas some of the other stuff in there is still from the winter cold damage that we had. Okay, this little thing here is my lemon drop mangosteen, and I had this indoors for the winter, and I just recently brought this out a few weeks ago as the temps have gotten warmer. And it is an extremely slow grower, as you can see. And over here, I have my Rosboro blackberries, and these are just going crazy right now. You can see all the new canes just shooting up everywhere. Flowers, tons of blackberries. It's going to be a huge crop for blackberries this year. This is a berry I highly recommend growing here in the Phoenix, Arizona area, or a hot, dry climate if you want to do berries. My misty blueberries here, I recently did a video about these. You can see some of the blueberries. Talked a little bit about if it's even worthwhile to grow blueberries here in the desert. You can check that out. My red hybrid Jaboticaba. This is a bit younger, grown from seed. Here is my Subel white sapote. And it's finally starting to bush out a little bit more. This got kind of hit by the cold, some of the new growth, a couple months ago. As you can see, some of those damaged leaves, but then it started to shoot out some more growth and finally starting to fill out a bit. It's been really small, really slow growing tree for me. And I know it gets too much shade here, and that's part of the problem. My Sprite Delight cherry plum. And let me get up closer to this tree. See, there's some of the cherry plums you can see in there. Here's my Caracara navel orange. I have yet to get oranges off of this. Come around here. But you can see a lot of new growth. This guy has really grown a lot this year. I am seeing some nice potential fruit set here quite a bit. So I'm thinking this year I'll at least get one orange set on here. In the back, there's a ladder there, you can see. My early grande or early grand peach tree and I have that ladder holding up a branch. I didn't thin as well as I could have and should have. And this tree, you can see some of the peaches just from here in this view. This tree is absolutely loaded in peaches, so it's gonna be a huge harvest for peaches this year. My Kerry mango, and all my mangoes are in full bloom right now. And I've noticed they bloomed a little later this year. Usually around this time, I have mangoes that are probably about the size of like a dime by now. So it's a little later. And I did cut that top off here. I did a video about figuring out how to prune this thing because it's all weeping and everything. And I had kind of a scraggly top there, so I cut that hoping that it'd shoot some more growth. And I am starting to see, you can see some flower buds coming off of it, but you can see there a potential shoot, so hopefully it's gonna do that. Right behind it is my sugar apple. And I've yet to see really much growth on this yet. The nights are just starting to get warmer. So I can see on this branch a little bit of new growth. But this is a little behind schedule. Usually it's starting to already shoot. Okay, there is my Adamoya, my in-ground Adamoya, full of new growth there. And I recently did a video on this, and it's flowering. My 2 raised beds here, I have my watermelon starts, Desert King watermelon, Violet Day Bordeaux fig, and then my tomatoes are looking awesome right now. I have Juliet Early Girl and a yellow pear this year is what I did. Back behind there is my Sherwood Jujube, getting ready to flower. My Parfianca pomegranate had some winds and it's kind of gotten lopsided here. Half of the tree, the side that I'm not really crazy about because it's leaning, is full of the bloom, and the other half that's more upright that I'd like to be blooming a bit more doesn't have as much on it. So trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this. Okay, I have my fig island, I call it here. I have a bunch of potted figs. So this is my Black Mission fig. And then back behind it, I have a Canandra fig, which is new this year, a new fig start that I did. Another Violet Day Bordeaux wedged in here. And then kind of growing up underneath here is a Peter's Honey fig. So the Violet Day Bordeaux that I have and the Peter's Honey were starts from last year. Okay, this is my Tango Mandarin here. And this is newly planted. It's already put on some new growth. It did flower and has some fruit set on it, but I'll probably just pull those off this year to let it focus on growth. Okay, wedged into this hot corner next to the kids' trampoline is my Barbados cherry. And if you've watched some of my videos, I had this growing in a container for a long time, but I decided to put this in the ground here. It's in a hot corner, and I'm hoping these walls and everything will give it enough shelter in the winter to get through. One of the reasons I kept it in a container was just because it is a bit cold sensitive. And as you can even see, it lost a lot of leaves from this winter being in the container in some of our cold snaps. But I am starting to see, you can see up close there, some new growth going on. So really with these tropicals, you really start to see the growth take off when the nights get warmer here in Phoenix. So we'll have warmer days throughout February, March, things like that, where it's in the 70s and you'd think things like this will be taking off, but the nights are still in the 40s. So really when our nights get in the 50s consistently is when you see these tropicals really happy and start to grow more. Okay, here is my dwarf everbearing mulberry. And as I get up close here, This thing is just absolutely loaded with fruit. You can see all the mulberries here starting to change color. Mulberry season is here among us, and these are going to start all turning really soon. So you're going to hear a lot of people in our area talking about how great mulberries are and this is a tree that you need to get, and I support that for sure. I highly recommend this tree to get a mulberry here. It is highly productive, does not take much care at all, handles winters, handles summers. You put it in the sun. This one is even partially shaded by the ash tree and it's still doing well. So it's a very versatile tree. The only thing with these is they grow vigorous and get really large if you don't prune them like I prune this to keep it manageable. If you just let them grow on their own, they're going to get big fast. So it's not something I would put up like near your house or anything like that. Make sure you have space if you let it grow out big. Okay, here's my Peruvian white guava. Again, you can see some of the cold damage still on this, on some of the leaves or whatever, but it is shooting out a lot of new growth. And I've even started to see, you can see there, the beginning of flowers. So this will be loaded with guavas this summer. I didn't get a winter spring crop this year, which is typically the better crop, better tasting, because it doesn't have the effects of the extreme heat. But the summer crop is still pretty good as well. Okay, here's my sorry looking Jamaican cherry. I did a video on this, pruning this. So I aggressively pruned it, but it is starting to get ready to push out some growth. So I'm hoping it'll bounce back and by the end of the summer fill back out. Some more watermelon starts here. This is a Navajo Red. All right, here is my other Adamoya that I'm growing in a container. And again, I went in more detail on Adamoyas in another recent video you can check out. But you can see lots of flowers. Here is my Barbie pink guava. And this is a guava that I've kept in a container. So here's my Ida Maraca mango tree here. And one of the things about this fruit tree is that it was grown from seed. It's going into its 5th year from seed. And for the first time, I have blooms on this tree. So it's setting fruit. I'm really excited about this. Can't wait to see like what kind of quality fruit it's going to put out being grown from seed. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. My kit mango here. More watermelon starts. This is some sort of white flesh variety. My Gary mango back there. My Silas Wood Sapodilla here in the container. Mayor lemon. Kind of took a hit from the cold, dropped some leaves. Here's one of my other canicels. This one's growing in a pot, getting ready to flush out some cool looking new growth up top there. This is wax jambu, black pearl variety. See, pushing some growth. Here is the soursop. This actually took quite a bit of a hit this winter time. I wasn't as diligent about getting this guy indoors because it's gotten quite large in this pot here. When it was smaller and younger, it was really easy to get it in on the cold nights, but this year I didn't always get it in when I needed to, and you can see they suffer anything below 40 degrees, they'll take a hit here. So you really have to be either diligent about getting this in on cold nights, or it's going to take a big hit and drop all its leaves, and it really shouldn't do that. This should stay evergreen year round, but as you can see, it's getting ready to flush out a lot of new growth. Lastly is my third canistil. This one's in the ground, again flushing new growth and looking really good here. No protection on any of the canistils through the winter. Check me out at gardenofluma.com for more tips on gardening and growing fruit trees and edibles, especially in hot, dry climates. Thanks for watching.